Welcome back. We're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Last show of the year, December 29th. 18 degrees outside. Time now is 8:36. On the line with us, our very special friend calling in from Arkansas. We hope you're well and warm. Bishop Smith, welcome back to the show.
God bless you. Heaven smile on you.
God bless you too, sir. And we wanted to have you on for the final show, do a little wrap-up of 2017. You've been a very good friend and a guest of the show. And, sir, please run down whatever you'd like to run down for the year and what you see for the future as far as the country, where we're headed. A lot of problems, a lot of skeletons coming out of the closet, and the Hollywood pervs are being outed, and the Capitol Hill pervs are being outed. Bishop?
Well, yeah, you've highlighted the obvious. However, the prophetic nature of things says we're headed to those 10 toes on Daniel's image. Somebody says that's a mixture of iron and clay, or technology with humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a prophetic word concerning the coming image of the beast that will be made both to speak and cause as many that did not receive the mark to be slain. So we're seeing artificial intelligence really take over, and people are talking to artificial intelligence like they're talking to their mamas.
Mm.
So it's amazing that we're so accustomed to it. I was sharing with my wife the other day. I said, you talk to artificial intelligence pretty good. So, and so what we have here is God doing more in those who are seeking Him through Christ, and everybody else is going in the opposite direction.
Bishop, the move for the U.S. Embassy to go to Jerusalem, that was a major move which rumbled a lot of feathers within this alliance that we have, a so-called fake alliance between so-called allies within the Middle East or Europe. Was that a spiritual or physical move? Is it really? Did it matter? Did it matter that we moved it from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem? Jerusalem's always been the capital, but we don't have an embassy there. What is your take on that?
Well, that during the end time, Jerusalem is going to be a stone and a rock of stumbling.
Mm-hmm.
And the nations of the world are going to stumble over that issue of Jerusalem. So moving the embassy there is just proliferating and accelerating and exacerbating that reality. So it had to happen, and it just happened to be a person that had the gall and the boldness to do it, like a Donald Trump.
Well, everybody before Donald Trump, all the previous presidents said they would do it, and then they forgot about it.
Well, once you get into a slot called representative authority, you're not on your own. It's either you're being swayed by the one that's called the prince of the power of the air, the wicked one, the god of this world, principalities and powers. Either you're swayed by that, or God has you in hand, and He's working you like a champ. And I just happen to believe at this point in time, God is using Donald Trump like a champ.
Gotcha. But I knew,
yeah,
and I know, and I think you believe, God doesn't need us as a Geico or State Farm insurance policy. He does what He wants to do.
Yeah. So Jerusalem is going to be where the showdown takes place.
Right.
And I think America is destined to lead that move, because we're considered to be the young lions of Tarsus.
Okay.
The young lions are the offspring of the mama lion. The mama lion which is Great Britain, just sidestepping the issues. But the young lions are the ones that are standing up and stepping up to the plate.
Interesting.
So it's a prophetic word.
Wow. So we're going into high gear. It's acceleration time.
Oh, absolutely. And only those that really do know God like He wants to be known will be wise and do exploits. Everybody else will be overcome and not overcomers.
So then, could it be said that it is a little bit prophetic that he got elected as an outsider?
I may have said it the last time I was on the air. I don't appreciate how he got there.
Right.
But I appreciate the fact that he is there.
And, God does use people in unusual ways. God puts them up and takes them down, right? So
that's true.
and the way he got there is the way he got there, but he's there. Can you imagine if he wasn't there?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that they're having Bible studies. They got a person like Pence, who's a definite witness as a believer, and you got other people that can take courage. Like Paul says, he's in jail, but other people are waxing bold because of his bonds. So when you have somebody in the White House that's bold enough to make a declaration of faith, it emboldens other people. So we're going to see more and more pockets of believers snap out of the stupor of sleep and slumber and take on an appetite for more of Christ. And they're going to be like, I often say, greedy for grace and cramming for Christ. So the Lord can get done what He wants to do, because He has to do it through people.
Right.
There's certain things He's done without us in terms of redemption. But in terms of the prophetic fulfillment of all things, people are in the play.
It's very strange what's going on in the Middle East, the alliances between Sunni, between Shiites, and now we have North Korea into play with Iran and the dangers there. What do you see about what do you think about Asia? There's a lot of converts coming out of Indonesia, by the way.
Yeah, God is saving people. He's delivering people. He's appearing to people, vision, dreams, etc., the preached word, the printed page, etc. But we're proliferating toward that tribulation period where over a third of the world's population is going to be eliminated in a year, a month, a day, and an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. You're talking about over 2 billion people in just over a year eliminated. We're headed that way.
That's a good sign, though. If we're headed that way, it's a good sign.
Yeah. I tell people I'm looking for the upper taker, not the undertaker.
Any new books coming out?
Well, my last one on illuminate, regulate, and invigorate is making some headway. Mm-hmm. I'm telling people that the Word of God, Paul says, pray that the Word of the Lord may have free course and be glorified as it is with you. So that word that the last book we wrote, it's really doing some tremendous things. Say, for instance, if the Word has free course in us and not obstructed, delayed, or blocked, that Word would illuminate the mind, regulate the heart, and invigorate the body. And my own biological son, my junior, who had an operation 8 years ago to have his thyroid removed, and he went through about 7 months of real drama in his physical body. He's been on medication for years. Well, he got a hold to the book, and for 29 straight days quoted that book, the scriptures out of there concerning illumination, regulation, and invigoration. And when he went to a checkup at the doctor told him he was over-medicated. Get off the medication for 6-8 weeks,
God, huh?
Then come back to see me because you have a thyroid working in you.
Wow.
So
miracle power.
The Lord is wanting us to not become obstructors to the words that He spoke. He wants us to allow that illuminating word to enlighten us, and then take the elevator from the head down to the heart and begin to regulate the various conditions of the heart. There are 4 conditions I mentioned in the book. If the word can deal with all 4 of those areas of our hearts, then that word will be released from the heart to the body parts, all the way down to the cellular level. That's when God is manifest in our flesh. That's what godliness is. It's a mystery. God is manifest in the flesh. But many of us as believers, we never get the full gospel benefit. We're born again, regenerated, germinated. Yes, our minds are being illuminated and being somewhat transformed, but we never really oftentimes get to the essence of the gospel, which means wounding, bruising, chastising, and strike for our healings. We should be physically well. We should not be diabetics. We should not have strokes, heart attacks, mental and emotional breakdowns, psychosomatic conditions. None of that should be going on with the believer. But it's happening because the word does not have free course in our humanity. And the book was written to help that situation be bettered.
What do you see for the churches in America?
Well, I see an overcomers factor, an overcoming factor. I see a group. I see a small portion of the church that's going to be so illuminated, regulated, and invigorated, so profoundly effective until it's going to benefit the whole church. But the whole church is not going to be strong enough to do everything that needs to be done. But there is an element called the overcomers, the first fruit, those that have the first fruit of the Spirit. They're going to have an impact in America.
How about a falling away, Bishop? See a big falling away?
Well, we can see that. We can see that in the pulpit, where ministers are advocating homosexuality. And if they're not advocating it, they're compromised to let it operate without being against it. I mean, big name people. So we see the falling away. But at the same time, God will never leave himself without a witness. Even up to through the Great Tribulation with the 2 witnesses in Revelation 11. So I see the church having pockets of fire, whereas no one will be with excuse. There are going to be those who have a pure witness of Christ. It's going to be a demonstrative expression of Christ. Miracles are going to happen. People are going to be born again, be delivered from a lot of different things, while the general church is in compromise, being neutralized, and about to be pulverized.
What about denominations?
Denomination is an expression of spiritual immaturity. The Church of Sardis in the book of Revelation is an indication of denominationalism. I have not found your works perfect. You have a few that walk with me in white. They are called overcomers, and there's special rewards for them. But I have not found your works perfect. You have a name that you have life, but is dead, and that which remains is ready to die and need to be strengthened. So denominationalism promotes immaturity and will never be spiritually mature as a denomination. It's impossible.
Great answer, by the way.
Say again.
I said it's a great answer. I agree with you.
Amen.
And the African American church?
Well, until there's no more African American church, there are going to be problems. Anytime a church is described after the flesh, it's in violation of the finished work of Christ.
What did the Lord?
Church,
what did they say about
church,
the Lord? The Lord is no respecter of persons.
Well, once we get born again, we become new creatures, new creations. And we're not to regard one another after the flesh at that point. Not even Christ after the flesh, after we're born again. But before we're born again, we acknowledge Christ came in the flesh. Yes, there's black, white, Hispanic, and everything else. But once we're born again, 2 Corinthians 5, 16, 17, 18 kicks in. And it's a violation to give definition to a new creation by old terminology. It's a resurrection of the flesh where there's hostility and divisiveness, all in that flesh mess.
Amazing answer. Great answer. Coming up, let me just say what time it is. It's 8:51. 8:51 on the John Fredericks Radio Network. I'm sorry. I should have took a little break there for a minute. We're on with Bishop Smith from Arkansas, winding up the year 2017, the last show, John Fredericks Show of the year, December 29th. Our very special friend and guest, Bishop Robert E. Smith. Bishop, your website again?
It's totaloutreachforchrist.com.
And your YouTube channel.
Well, I should know what that is.
The Awakening.
But all you have
the
to
Awakening?
do is go to Word of Awakening.
Word of Awakening. Have you put any new stuff up?
What we're doing now is live streaming.
Oh, okay.
Almost daily.
Daily?
It's called Morning Manna. Morning Manna That Matters.
On the Awakening channel?
So if you go to the Bishop's page, Bishop Robert E. Smith page,
okay,
it'll link you to the Morning Manna. Mm-hmm. And we're sharing 6 days a week.
Is this prayer, fasting and prayer?
Well, we have prayer, and then we have a word.
Okay.
And what comes on the live stream is not the prayer time, but it's the word time.
Okay, and how long is the word on the live stream?
Right.
How long is it on there, sir? How many minutes?
It's a good 30 minutes.
Oh, nice. That's good. I'll check it out.